Sierra Leone took a historic step to eradicate child marriage, and it could be the blueprint for other countries to do the same.
For me, I feel it's quite symbolic in that Sierra Leone is a country that shies away from these issues. So the bravery to step up to the plate and publicly have this encoded into the law is both a legal and a social step. But again, it's just a first step.
Sierra Leone's new Prohibition of Child Marriage Act bans marriage for anyone under 18. It also outlaws aiding and abetting a child marriage and cohabiting with a child. In 2017, 30% of Sierra Leonean women between 20 and 24 had been married before their 18th birthday.
Whether it's in a traditional ceremony, a Muslim ceremony, a Christian ceremony, or a civic ceremony, it also sets up infrastructure and framework for children who have been victims of child marriage to get support and to also reclaim their rights.
Under the law, people married as children can seek financial compensation and petition for an annulment. Plus, those who marry children can face 15 years in prison and a fine of around $2,000, around an average year's salary. But the law hasn't gone into effect, so there haven't been any convictions yet.
I think what's most important with laws like this is their implementation and working with communities, working with children, to make sure that these laws are implemented in a way that doesn't harm their rights.
On the global scale, Sierra Leone isn't even in the top 20 countries with the highest rates of child marriage in Africa or even the world. In contrast, Niger holds the highest rate worldwide, with 76% of girls married before their 18th birthday. But activists and human rights organisations say that Sierra Leone's legislation serves as a framework for countries that have deep ties to the practice.
Sierra Leone is setting an example for other countries that have strong cultural and social norms that push for some of these violations, that it's doable and it's possible to enact a law and actually realize children's rights through that law. So in that instance, Sierra Leone becomes a bit of a forebearer for other countries.
But critics say the law still misses the mark because it fails to address practices linked to child marriage, like female genital cutting.
They're both more prevalent than child marriage, but because of how rights violations operate, usually FGM and teenage pregnancy push girls into child marriage. So they've kind of solved the end of the equation, but they need to solve the first two issues.
In Sierra Leone, over 80% of girls and women between the ages of 15 and 49 are circumcised.
It's believed that once a girl is cut, she's ready for marriage, and that's why there's such an intricate link between FGM and child marriage.
And when it comes to teenage pregnancy and maternal mortality, Sierra Leone has some of the highest rates in the world. A 2019 survey found that 101 out of every 1,000 girls aged 15 to 19 had given birth, and an estimated 40% of maternal deaths occur among teenagers.
Because of the extreme cases of poverty in Sierra Leone and the lack of sexuality education, the lack of access to sexual and reproductive health services and information, a lot of girls end up pregnant, and the families see marriage as a solution because now the girl and the child are dependent on someone else rather than the family itself, which is probably struggling.
In 2020, the country officially lifted a law that banned visibly pregnant girls from attending school. But human rights workers say more needs to be done to combat female genital cutting.
We have no legislation and we have no accompanying social and cultural framework for the elimination of FGM. But hopefully what we're seeing with this law is that it's the beginning of a trend of criminalizing violations of children's rights.